Dear all, welcome to Civil Services with ZAKI, and today we are going to start why is biodiversity important and how is it threatened. So it is very significant topic. So without further ado, let's start this video and see what are the today's topic. So first is what is biodiversity. So in this video we discusses about biodiversity. Another is why is biodiversity important and how is it threatened. Another is what is the importance of biodiversity. Another is what are the threat to the biodiversity, and also how do we protect biodiversity. So we discuss all these topics, and these topics are very significant for the civil services examination. So let's stay with us to understand these topics, and these topics are basics in ecology and environment. So after watching this video, you will be able to answer the following questions. So what are these following questions? These three questions. Number one, explain the importance of biodiversity and what are the ways to protect. What are the ways to protect global biodiversity? Basically, a UPSC mains related question. Another is how biodiversity is threatened and explain the impact of mining and deforestation on biodiversity. This question is also significant for the civil services examination. Another is how the reintroduction of the species are good for the biodiversity, discussed in brief. So what is reintroduction? Like the reintroduction of the cheetah in India. So these are the significant questions regarding the UPSC mains exam. So let's start with this video one by one. First, biodiversity. So what is biodiversity? So if you can call it simply, biodiversity is the variety of life on the earth. So it's include diversity in genetic level. So if you see the diversity in genetic level, like you can see all human, but they are not resembles one another in the same way, because the diversity of the genetic diversity. Same situation such as the between the individual population and the plant variety. So another species, another plant varieties, and also diversity in species. So also you can see the diversities in the species, diversity in the ecosystem, and also diversity in the habitats. So biodiversity has evolved over last 3.8 billion years. So the planets approximately, as you know, the age of our planet is 4.6 billion year old. So it's the 4.6 billion history. 3.8 billion basically involved in the life on the earth. So if you see these 3.6 billion year, 5 major extinctions event have been recorded over this period. It means 3.8 billion year periods. So all available evidence. So if we collect the evidence basically regarding climate change, global warming, and etc., all point to the sixth major extinction. Sixth major extinction event currently underway. Because unlike the previous event, if you see here, unlike the previous event which were due to the natural disaster, like the hitting by asteroids or the planetary change, basically the change in the angle of the our inclination of the earth, and also the but if you see the current situation, current loss of biodiversity is mainly due to the human activity. So human activity basically impact these biodiversity across the globe. So that's why it is the great concern among the environmentalists and all environmentalists across the globe. So let's start another question. Another question is, why is biodiversity important? So what is the importance of the biodiversity and how is it treated? So how is it connected? What is the main trait of the biodiversity? So this question is also very significant. So let's address this question. So lack or loss of biodiversity is a major concern in many parts of the world. So degradation of the ecosystem, if you see the degradation of the ecosystem, degradation of the ecosystem is main basically loss of the species and loss of the biodiversity. So if the species loss, it means the loss of the biodiversity. So it is difficult to gauge that such losses represent. So what is the loss of some loss of the species and all that? So because as you know, we do not yet understand the role of many species in their ecosystem or the potential uses of the species, such as the use for the medicine and other benefits. So as you know, because these biodiversity are very significant for the human existence and very significant. So first we understand the importance of the biodiversity. So what is the importance of the biodiversity? So importance of the biodiversity. Number one, if you see human health and medicinal use. Basically, if you see here, human health and medicinal use. So like this plant is aloe vera plant. So if you see, some species have properties that are used to treat disease. One example is aloe vera, because as you know, it is a succulent used to treat the burn and other skin discomfort. So aloe vera is thought to be extinct in the wild. If you see the aloe vera extinct in the wild, but as you know, it persists because it's widely cultivated. So as you see here, the aloe vera cultivation. So aloe vera is widely cultivated, and because due to its medicinal benefit, so it is basically commercialized, and you see the such type of the aloe vera gel, aloe vera medicine used in various medicinal and also beauty purpose. So maintaining biodiversity, so basically maintaining the biodiversity, basically the plants, birds, mosquito and all other species population protect us against emerging disease, such type of the new emerging disease like the corona and COVID-19 and other new diseases. So, so such as West Nile virus and other viruses. So, if we lose the biodiversity, we will see in the future various emerging disease like the COVID-19 and other disease. So that's why it is very significant to protect the biodiversity. Another importance is the biodiversity. If you see the aesthetic and spiritual, such type of this figure, you see such type of the spiritual. So if you see the such type of the peace of mind and all that. So if you see here, many places such as this temperate forest, basically this is a temperate forest. So this temperate forest, basically if you see they are spatial aesthetic to delicate balance between the environment and the living organism. So see here, this is. So that is the ecology. Basically inhabit these special, basically this is ecology. So organism and special places. So disturbing one component. So if we disturb one component, we remove some plants or some species of the animal, it means its impact positive or negative. So if you see positive or negative feedbacks include basically unanticipated consequences. So it is basically resulted in the unprecedented consequences like the loss of forest and other basically frequent fire and all that. So we need to protect this type of the forest size and basically these type of the forests are very significant for the human, basically for the aesthetic and spiritual purpose. Another thing, if you see here, food security. So food security is also one of the important topic. So if we see genetic diversity in agriculture land, like different kinds of the wheat, see here, variety in food supply and flexibility for the future breeding stock. So basically these variety and different type of the variety are very significant, because this is an insurance policy. So it is the a security for the policy against this impact of the new plant disease or climate variability or climate change. So it is also food security is one of the most significant thing. Another thing, if you see environmental ethics. So what is environmental ethics? So if you see here, animal and plants belong to their natural habitat, like the penguin belong to the Antarctica. So human should try to keep these ecosystem as undisturbed as possible. So human should not disturb this type of the habitat, like the see here the penguin colony of the Antarctica. So this goal basically conflict in some degree with the goal of the ecotourism. So as you know, ecotourism is another thing to protect to promote the ecosystem and ecology, but especially in the fragile places, it is a basically conflict between the environmental ethics and the ecotourism. Like these fragile places are penguin colony, like this penguin colony in the and the biologically rich offshore water of the Antarctica. So it is the one offshore of the biologically rich, so diverse offshore in the Antarctica. So it is very significant to we maintain the environmental ethics. So basically, because these animal or these species are especially for these area, so human should not interfere these area like the Antarctica and other and another polar places across the globe. So let's start another thing. Another is buffer against extreme event. So such type of, as you should see the cyclone and other things. So the check and balance in diverse ecosystem protect the ecosystem from. So if you see the check and balance, so if you see some extreme event or some type of the natural disaster, basically these plant or such type of the mangrove are very significant to protect us from this hurricane and this storm. For example, against the effect of the hurricane, and allow the ecosystem to continue provide ecological structure and function. So many of which help people. So if you see the Sundarban areas and all that area, some of the and other coastal area, this type of the trees are very significant to protect the human habitation. So it is also act a buffer against the extreme event. So that's why this biodiversity is very significant. Another thing is ecotourism. So ecotourism is also one of the importance for the basically biodiversity. So loss of the wild animal threaten to the ecotourism industry. So basically ecotourism is ecological tourism, where a new type of the plants or unique type of the species you can see by this ecotourism. So such as tropical rainforest. So basically the loss of the species or loss of the animal and plant basically affect the ecotourism industries, such as the, as you know, the tropical rainforest. If you see the tropical rainforest, coral reef and mountain gorilla in Central Africa, lemurs in the Madagascar, and as you know, the fragile Iceland ecosystem of the Galapagos. So it is the Galapagos Island. So it is very fragile. So you can find various new species. That species are don't find anywhere in the world. So that's why this is very significant to the ecotourism to maintain the biodiversity. So if biodiversity loss, then tourism industries also lost. And as you know, these industries provide many people in the jobs, and they provide the food and food security. So that's why biodiversity is also significant for the ecotourism. Let's start with the next importance. Next with the threat to the biodiversity. What is the threat to the biodiversity? So one of the significant threat of the biodiversity is the deforestation. Deforestation is, as you know, biodiversity is threatened by many human activities, but including the clear cutting of the forest for farmland and timber. So as you see here, this forest cut down for the timber and also the farm land. So especially when the occurs in the species rich tropical rainforest or densely planted energy crop. Another threat is also energy crop, because energy crop is good for the environment, or biofuel good for the environment, but not good for the biodiversity, because basically it is destroyed several areas forest and diverse forest, and cultivated only one species or only one species type of the. So energy crops or biofuels grown in the tropical ecosystem provide biofuel, a way out of the poverty, but its cost of biodiversity. So energy fuel or biofuel is not good for the biodiversity. So deforestation is one of the major causes of the loss of the biodiversity. For example, if you see here, one thing, one forest situated here which provide 1000 species, 1000 species, including plant and tree and all that, including animals. But if you cut down this forest, it means 100 acre, assume 100 acre, and if you cut down this and you planted 200-acre forest, this type, but you can only plant one or two type of species, one or two, or may three, may 100 type of species, but it's not equivalent to the 1000 type of the species, or more than 1000 species. So that's why the reforestation or the planting a forest in new area is not as rich as the old forest. So that's why deforestation is the major cause for loss of the biodiversity. Another thing is, if you see, mining and climate change. Mining and climate change also a great threat to our biodiversity. So see how. Another threat to the biodiversity is mining, such as bauxite. So see here, it is bauxite mine. So bauxite mining is very you see the very environment against the biodiversity loss and all that. So such as bauxite, which form only from the intense chemical weathering in tropics. So equally harmful growth of the community, and also one of the also important things of the development in the such type of the forest area is also a great threat to the biodiversity. So such type of the building of road into the previously pristine ecosystem. So pristine, loss of the pristine ecosystem means loss of biodiversity. And also climate change is another threat on the horizon. As you know, the climate change is also initiated the wildfire and all that across the globe. So climate change is another threat to the biodiversity. So these are the main threat of the biodiversity. Another thing, so see, how do we protect biodiversity? So how protect? So number one, if you see here, wildlife and nature conservation. So we preserve the pristine forest and wildlife and nature conservation. So there are no easy answer to protecting the global biodiversity. So it's not so easy like, but several solutions in the combination with one another. So it is related to all. So it is a combination with one another may offer the best hope. So wildlife and nature preservers have been successful in protecting the delicate ecosystem too much human intrusion. So see such type of the global level legal basically the conservation of the forest and wildlife conservation and all that. So if you see the country across the globe, some of these preservations are the result of the governments and basically legislation. So like the Wildlife Protection Act in India and other such type of the legislation across the globe. But other are created with the private fund, like the environmental NGOs or environmental trust and all that. So basically these are completely outside of the government, such type of the trust, such type of the fund, but both approaches work if done thoughtfully. So if we done these things thoughtfully, we will definitely protect our biodiversity. So biodiversity protection is the one of the significant for the existence of the human. If you destroy biodiversity, then you destroy the forest, you destroy the lots of species, and finally you can face extreme event, climate change and all other natural phenomena basically dangerous for the human, and basically these mostly affected by the poor people or poor country across the globe. So let's another things is reintroduction of the species. It's on another way to protect our biodiversity, reintroduction of the species. So in some region, species have been reintroduced to the area where once they are habited, but from which they have disappeared. Such type of the cheetah in India. This cheetah, as you know, cheetah extinct from India, and after a long period we introduced the cheetah. So regarding the UPSC mains question regarding the cheetah, you can also watch a specific video on this video, and basically this video is basically live video. So and also I hope you please subscribe our channel. And as you know, I'm very disappointed due to you and all other our student are not sharing my video, and also our subscriber is not growing and all that. So I hope please share this video, and please share this video and help us. So another thing, another way is as you know, the reintroduction of the cheetah. So for example, so basically what is reintroduction? So it is usually involve the harvesting a select number of plant or animal. It may be plant or animal from an ecosystem where they are thriving and safely transported to them their new locale, like from Namibia to India in case of cheetah, in case of cheetah and all that. So so basically if you see the gene at seed bank, so also human created gene and seed bank provide insurance for the long term survival for the species. So some of the species may extinct, but the gene and seed also collected for these such type of the threatened species to protect the biodiversity. So these are the whole basically process or a strategy to maybe protect the biodiversity. It's not easy answer. So you may protect biodiversity and you may love the forest and all that. So development is not in the cost of the biodiversity or loss of the biodiversity. So uh, we will provide a new video, a new short video soon. Please subscribe our channel and tell your friends and colleagues, and please share this video. Hope you learn lot of things about the biodiversity and loss of the biodiversity. So thanks for watching this video. If you want to help us, please scan this and help what you want. And thanks a lot.